I've lived in Hatley all my life. It's a wonderful place to live. Multicultural, full of energy, creativity, but it's an area deeply affected by knife crime, and as a mother, it's very concerning. Scenes like this are sadly all too common. In my neighbourhood, there have been 10 knife attacks in the last year. 4 people have died. There's lots of help for grieving relatives, and rightly so, but what about the young bystanders to these crimes? I know of school kids, even a 3-year-old, who have witnessed stabbings. I can't calculate how disturbing that could be and potentially traumatising. Then there's little support, you know, for like them emotionally, psychologically. I think of them as the hidden victims.
What's poppin'? It's your girl JBTV and I'm back with another video.
Jade is a talented, budding YouTube star. But 3 years ago, when she was 16, her life was turned upside down.
My ex-boyfriend at the time, he got involved in the fight, and at that point, things just went from one stream to another. It was like knives just got pulled out of like bags, and in the corner, my friend was literally like bleeding, like he had loads of like stab wounds and stuff, and I didn't realise it was that bad until he actually like fell in my arms. I'm looking at my clothes because I got like blood on my clothes also, and I'm just thinking like, is this real? Jade's friend was pronounced dead a few hours later. People on the estate wrongly assumed that the boys had fought over Jade and blamed her. Under a witness protection programme, she had to be moved out of London. It messed me up a lot, especially at the beginning. I didn't even know who I could trust. And even my mum and my family and things, I know my mum was always there for me, but it felt like in the back of her head she was thinking, did her daughter do something like that? And it burnt because, you know, you don't expect people who are meant to be supporting you to think bad of you. I don't think I got a lot of support with mentally understanding like what happened. No child who has witnessed such tragedy should end up as isolated as Jade was. How are we going to manage that? It's the main reason I set up Peace in the Streets, a collective of individuals and businesses dedicated to helping kids whose lives have been impacted by violent crime.
We'd like to pray for our community to stop all of this blood loss and shedding of love.
My team pray a lot for the dozens of children we have helped, but our work is also very practical.
Our support is aimed at actually supporting survivors, going into schools, helping children who are losing their brothers, their sisters, girlfriends, boyfriends.
We work one-to-one with young people. We offer them holistic support, whether through ourselves personally or through our network. So we'll do a one-to-one where we do an evaluation of where they're at, the things that they've been through and encountered.
Firstly, I'd like to start by thanking you all for coming out this morning to the Peace in the Streets event.
Our main project, an events programme, helps keep kids off the streets and realising their full potential through performance. I'm always treading, moving silence when I'm stepping. Everyone here seems happy, but some of the children we work with are so traumatised they struggle to leave the safety of their own homes.
They get depressed, they stop planning. Most of the young boys I speak to tell you if they live to 18 and 21, it's a big deal now. They actually have given up. And every time I hear it, it feels like the first time. It devastates me. As a mum, as a woman, we should not be burying our children.
Children who've witnessed violent incidents are often referred to as survivors. Yet through our work at Peace in the Streets, I've learned that they can become plagued by suicidal thoughts. When she was just 12 years old, Montana's father, in a case of mistaken identity, was shot dead on the doorstep of the family home.
It was just like numbness had fell on me. That just changed my life completely. I couldn't focus from there. At school, it was almost like I was sitting in a room and everything was going on around me and everything was talking around me, but it felt like I was in my own world. I started picking up a stealing addiction, I started a smoking addiction, and I think that void of pain that I didn't know how to fill, I was filling it with all these things and it just wasn't working. I started to see the world as a very dark place.
After years of suicidal thoughts, Montana is now receiving counselling and has joined us at Peace in the Streets to help other young people dealing with bereavement. Back at our base, we are working on a plan to reach more young people in need of our help. The situation is urgent as there is growing evidence that child witnesses of knife and gun crime are at risk of becoming the perpetrators of violence themselves.
Seeing someone getting stabbed was just like, oh, it was another day kind of thing. It would be a shock, but at the same time, it's like life moves. Now looking back to it, I've seen the effects it's had on people. A lot of people from the area have PTSD. I know the effects it has on me.
Caleb spent much of his childhood on a South London estate, on the fringes of a gang he never really fully signed up to. But a close mate did get caught up in the local violence.
He was killed by someone. Both the person who killed him and the person who died, I knew them both. And the person who died, when I was a kid, him and my brother went to the same school. And it's like, it causes a divide in the area because now the mindset is, take one of mine, I'm gonna take one of yours. So how am I gonna avenge him? That's the mindset. So yeah, it definitely causes perpetual violence. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God.
Caleb avoided the cycle of brutality and chose a different path.
I leaned towards my faith side and I started taking God seriously and stuff like that, and I think that was really a big shift for me. But also like with the whole Peace in the Streets project and stuff like that. So I think that's something that a lot of people can resonate with. Do you get what I'm saying? Like a lot of young people don't want to be living the lifestyle they're living, but they feel like they're forced to live it, whereas Peace in the Streets offers an alternative.
Caleb has found a way out, but we believe there are hundreds of child witnesses to street violence in the capital at risk of being drawn into gangs and local turf warfare.
From the limited research that's been done, we do know that not all, but some people will seek retribution, and as they get desensitised to violence, it is possible that they will do acts of violence themselves. So that's why it's so important we reach out to these young people.
Recently, the Ministry of Justice announced a trial project that will provide free specialist support to children who witness knife murders or serious violence. The charity Victim Support has been chosen to lead the trial.
This is a pilot here in London, and we're able now to offer the full service to those who've witnessed the murder as well as those who've been immediately affected. So we would be working with them within 48 hours of the murder taking place. We would allocate them a caseworker, we would do an assessment of need, all sorts of therapy from cognitive behavioural therapy, counselling.
I'm pleased that the government is finally acknowledging children on the sideline of violent crime. I hope the pilot projects lead to permanent funding and that backing is also extended to organisations like Peace in the Streets. Local groups are vital to engaging youth at grassroots level, in the streets and the communities where they live and sometimes die.